Oliver and stuff like that.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this Monday's Wealth Creation Show. We are going to be talking about quite an important one, I think, today. I mean, obviously, the topics are always important, but trust and performance and their relationship with each other, I think, is really an important thing for us to cover. We're going to try and talk about it in as much depth as we can. And we are live. We are on TikTok this afternoon. We're on the social media platforms, including live on Instagram. So anybody that wants to join in the comments and ask any questions, we will endeavour to do so as we go through the show. So please keep it interactive and join in, guys. So trust and performance. Now, trust, I would say, is a really foundational kind of element for any successful relationship. And do you know what? It holds true in that context in workplace, and whether that's between colleagues or whether it's teams or whether it's personal relationships or between employees and leaders and things like that as well. It does play a really pivotal role in establishing that positive outlook and that environment and really fostering kind of collaborations and things, which ultimately will increase productivity in anything that you are trying to do. And I think that is something that everybody wants. And Jim, I'm sure you'll be able to give us some really insightful insights into trust and how it's helped you along the way throughout the years between people that you work with and people that you collaborate with.
I tell you what, Surrounded by Idiots. That's not a will, by the way. That's a book. It's actually really good. I'm listening. I'm reading it now. Actually, I'm listening. I don't listen to things. I read things. I love hard copy because it teaches you, it embeds it more when you read it, when you see it, when you think it, and when you say it. It retains more information as a result of that. But it's quite interesting to see the dynamics of people from different backgrounds: the reds, the yellows, the greens, and the blues. The analysts, the people who just want to help, the outgoing people, and the introverts and natural born leaders. That's it. I wouldn't say we used to have an argument with this. Scott Melvin and us at my college. He used to say leaders are born, and I went, well, you can't argue with that, can you? Because they're all born at some point in time. Everybody's born. And I went, no, leaders are made. They are made. Everybody's born, but not everybody can become a leader because of the traits that they have and they adopt and the ways that they go about things over time. And this is all about trust and performance. Trust is a really good one. And the things I've been learning just now, funny enough, of people like Richard Branson, and I don't mean it as if I've like, hello, Richard, what do you think about trust? No, I don't mean it like that. It's just reading the books and actually watching the podcasts that he's talking about. And he talks about his senior staff and everything. And it's you can have a holiday anytime you want. Really? I didn't need to check with anybody? No, just take time off anytime you want. As long as you're you're up to date, and as long as it doesn't affect the business. You could have a holiday anytime you want. You can take your holidays anytime you want. You don't need me to sign them off. And I get it. And he says, well, why would you do that? He says, well, because why would you employ somebody, then oversee them for their holidays and then tell them that they've got to only take them at certain points in time? Because it implies straight away that you don't even trust them.
So you've not got that trust in them to be able to do that on their own accord, off their own back.
Yeah, so I don't get it. Why you do. I understand it from years ago because that's how I used to do it. But now, you know yourself, Richard, it's like, take holidays anytime you want. You don't need me to tell you when you take your holidays and have me to sign them off. And you just fill your boots and go and do it yourself. And it's the same with estate agents as well. For Sophie, for Craig, for Perry, for Susan, it's like, fill your boots, take your holidays anytime you want. You don't need me to sign them off. You're a big person. You're an adult. Why would I not trust you? What was the point in employing you in the first place if I have to then micromanage and oversee you?
That's a really important thing as well. Like you say, when it comes to employees and things, why would you initially invest in bringing somebody on as part of your team when you maybe don't have that complete trust in them to be able to do things like that?
I think Sophie and Craig were actually quite shocked when I said that. It says, we'd love 2 weeks off at Christmas. Oh, I would love 2 weeks off at Christmas. Okay, then just take them then.
Yeah.
What? Sorry? What do you mean? They were more concerned about what would happen if they took 2 weeks off Christmas than I was. I was like, no, just take them, because Perry says she's wanting to work. It's like, yeah, okay, Perry can work, and Anne-Marie's going to man the phone, or man the phone, and make sure everything's okay, and be in the office. So we don't need anybody else. So just take 2 weeks off. And Sophie's like, yeah, I'll go to Dubai. And normally Craig goes away skiing with his mum, but this year he thought he actually, see, this is the thing. He's another thing. He assumed that this year, because he had just started with us, that he shouldn't be taking 2 weeks off at Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you can take 2 weeks off if you want. It's fine. I'm all right with that, as long as it doesn't affect the business, as long as you're up to date with your performance and you're hitting your targets. Yeah, there'll come a point where, and I'll say it live on here, there'll come a point where I'll say, you can just take unlimited holidays if you want.
Yeah, as long as everything's getting done and the business is still moving forward. I mean, I've done the exact same thing with the lettings and property management teams and things, and they all come to me and say, well, we'll do this, cover this, and that's take us right over all the holidays. So, and I didn't really.
Do you know empowering somebody with that amount of trust in their job, then I would say increases their performance.
Yeah,
because then they become accountable for their own actions and their own results. For that reason, and they know, and they almost become their own boss. Well, they do. You become your own boss as a result of that, because then you know when you can and when you can't take holidays. It doesn't need me to tell you that. If it does need me to tell you that, I've got the wrong person in the first place, and that's my fault.
Yeah, and ideally, the person that you've got, if you entrust them with that and give them that responsibility, and they do have that sense of they've got their own boss type thing, and they're responsible for their own actions and have that. A lot of people want to have that feeling, and that feeling of I'm in control of what I do rather than somebody's in control of them. I mean, I feel like that. I think that's very empowering to give somebody that feeling and that leeway, rather than, like you say, on their back and micromanaging somebody. Nobody wants that. Well, I wouldn't imagine so.
Look what happens when it comes to a pay review. How much do you want then? Sorry? Well, how much do you want? Name your price. What pay do you want? And everybody goes, oh, squirm. I thought you were going to tell me what I could have. No. How much do you want? Obviously, there was within reason, but most people come back with the right amount and they say, yeah, that's what I'm kind of looking for. It's like, yeah, okay, then that's fine.
Yeah. And I mean, so that's like reasons why trust is really important, especially in work and places of work and things as well. What about, do you know, when you're thinking about maybe doing joint ventures and jointly investing in things with people and things as well? That's, I mean, we'll take property because it's what we do as an example, but it could relate to a number of different investment vehicles. But if you were doing a joint venture in property with somebody, investing your time, your money and things as well, trust's really an important thing there as well.
It is. And my advice to everybody, no, I wouldn't say most people, to everybody, is only do a joint venture with someone if you absolutely need them or need something that you've got, a skill that they've got. If it's just money and you can get it from a bank, just do it with the bank.
Yeah.
Because then you've not got the human element in it. You know where the bank stands. It's like, as long as you pay the money back,
transactional.
We couldn't care less. It's not an emotional thing. Whereas you don't know what the other person's life has, what's going on in their life. They could end up, like, next week they could end up splitting up, and then the next minute it's like, we've got to divide assets, I've got to have my money back, I have to pull my money out now. And it's like, oh my God. So unless you can't do the deal without that person, or you can't move forward without that person, that's the only reason you'd want to do a joint venture with them, or have them as a business partner if it's for that reason. So that's always been the advice I've been given. I started off in the early days with a business partner, and it didn't go. It did go according to plan in the beginning, but then I gave the person too much trust and too much responsibility for managing something that I wasn't aware that they weren't able to manage, which was the finances.
Right.
I wanted to give them I want to trust them as much as possible. I tend to be. I'm not really sure if I'm naive or if I'm a blind optimist. And the fact that I think everybody's got the ability in them to actually to change and adapt.
Yeah, I wouldn't say naive.
Realize that's not the case.
Yeah, I wouldn't say naive is the right way to explain that, especially for you. But I think, like you say, that the eternal optimist in people and how they could maybe implement themselves and change and things, and not everybody's always like that. and which is kind of alien, I suppose, to you and potentially I. Because,
well, you said not everybody's always like that, but everybody is always like that, but they just choose not to be like that.
Yeah, they just don't change.
Because they don't really want to change. They like the idea of changing, they like the end result, but they don't want the journey in between. It needs them to do that in order to change to get the end result. So that's so yes, joint ventures with someone else. Sometimes a lot of people are actually starting it for the first time. They need someone else's expertise. That's a key driver why you would want to trust somebody, because you need their expertise, or you're not going to go any further. Yeah. It's better to have 50% of something than 100% of nothing. As long as you understand the downsides of it, to how it affects you. As long as you understand the downsides of what could happen, then and you're willing to take that risk, because it is a risk getting into business with someone else, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You hear these horror stories about someone else cashing out the whole account and disappearing abroad. And then that's the end of it. It's like, so you've got to make sure you have internal controls in place as well, and not just leave it to chance. I mean, when I first started out, it was like we had high levels of trust between each other, myself and my business partner. And to be honest, I would still trust that person today, definitely. He is a person that's very responsible and very trustworthy as well, and I would trust that person today as well. But what I did realize is I failed to understand what that person's key strengths were and what their key weaknesses were as well. And I should have accommodated for that and actually picked that up, because it was my strength. But I just trusted that person, and I wanted to give them their leeway to find their way, because they wanted to be in charge. And preferably, I didn't want to be in charge, but I ended up having to be in charge because that I had that skill, and it complemented.
It's interesting you say, obviously, you would still trust them today, and because I was going to come on to, like, if trust's kind of broken between people or business partners and things as well, are you a believer in being able to reestablish that, or is it like, look, I put my trust in you and it never worked, which is maybe not the same situation you had?
Forgiveness more than anything, Richard. It's the ability to forgive someone else for maybe their indiscretions, or maybe the difficult times they were going through at the time. So I'm a great believer in that as well. There is people who have crossed the line completely. It's like neither the twain shall meet ever. I don't care if you're the best estate agent or letting agent in the world. If you've crossed the line, that will never ever happen ever again with me. You had your chance and you blew it. Whereas there's other people, yourself, we happily have them back. Because it wasn't really a trust thing. It was their circumstances at the time dictated. They left, and then they came back, and it was like, great, okay, we're back in business again.
And trusting and people and things as well. If it does kind of fall by the wayside and things maybe don't run like maybe they used to in the beginnings of things, and it could always be reestablished, I think, with kind of implementing these repetitive kind of habits and things, so you're demonstrating that you can be trustworthy again. Because I mean, like you say, it's a second chance thing. People have their own circumstances which make them maybe do things or act on things in a certain way which isn't really them, or maybe out of character. So that you need to give a wee bit leeway for people to be able to reestablish themselves with you.
Money is a great driver for revealing somebody's true personality.
Definitely.
What it does, money doesn't change you; it just amplifies what you are already. So if you are by nature an untrustworthy person, then you'll just be more of an untrustworthy person when you're given that, when you're given wealth and you're given money as a result of that power. People go, oh, it's the power going to their head. No, it's not really. It's just amplified who they are already in their core. We talked about it last week, in their core beliefs and who they are as a person. It just amplifies you as a result of that, and therefore your true nature, your true personality reveals itself as for that reason.
Do you know, it's funny you say that about, because I've always been, and I don't know how, and I would actually, maybe I should do a wee bit maybe research into my past, into how I ended up knowing this early on. But I was always aware how much money changed people, and how much it not changed them, but showed the real who they are.
Yeah.
Because I always remember Gavin and I speaking about that years ago, and I'm like, be careful, money changes people. You'll not changes people. It shows the real people that they are. and because I've seen it happen over the years, but I would like to maybe think back to where I actually picked that up for, because I did establish that very early on, and I've known it for years that money could make people act in a very...
It's probably from the people around about you tell you
Mhm.
that, you know, because it's something they've learned as well, that money
Yeah.
does change people. But I
Oh, yeah.
think what they really meant was they actually thought in their own mind that money does change that person and their
Mhm.
personality. No, it doesn't. It just amplifies who they are and their true self. You just see more of what they are.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. You know, for want of a better phrase, I'm an arrogant prick sometimes. You know, and I don't like that as well, but it's just it comes across like that. But I play tongue in cheek a lot.
Yeah.
I play. I mean, I you know, if I was chocolate, I'd eat myself. Somebody said that the other day, and it's like, yeah, I probably would. But I take that with a pinch of salt. You know, it's
Yeah.
like I see the funny side of that. I don't really. Oh my God, I love myself, and it's like,
No.
you know, I've got a healthy outlook at myself. I've got a healthy relationship with myself. I think a lot of me because I know I
Well,
put the
that's
hours
only
in to get it.
natural.
So
Yeah.
it's like I've got a healthy respect for myself, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
What you find out is when people start to get at you for that, it's because possibly they don't have that. And they
Mhm.
don't like the fact that you have that. So therefore, they want you just to be like them.
Yeah,
They don't like that at all.
a lot of people react quite negatively in response to other people's success because obviously they don't have their own,
Yeah.
which is their problem, and they need to obviously
Look,
think about.
look at the
Yeah,
comment. This guy thinks he's the Messiah. And it's like, what?
yeah,
Are you having a laugh? I'll take it. But but the point is, it's like, really? Do I? No. I've got a healthy relationship with myself, and I've got full trust in my abilities to perform and do what I need to do, and the team round about me as well that I've got as a result of that. You know, and that's confidence.
yeah. I was just going to
So
say,
that's confidence that comes as a result of the trust that I have in the performance of other people.
confidence is what I was just going to say, because it's only natural for you personally maybe to feel quite comfortable in yourself and quite competent about yourself because of what you've done and what you've achieved. But
Yeah.
you require that confidence in order to actually be successful in what you do. Because if you're not confident, then you're not going to be able to execute the kind of work you do and things that you put out there, and
Of
then
course.
and also with your own success and your own financial success and things, you've given a lot back and you give a lot back. And that's the one thing, whereas a lot of people wouldn't. A lot of people think, oh, I've got lots of money now, I'm just going to keep it all for myself.
Yeah, and that's my point. The only reason I want to just make more money is to give just a lot more away.
Yeah.
That's it. And ultimately, I love Undercover Boss. I love
Yeah.
Secret Millionaire. I love all these things. I'm like in floods of tears when you see at the end, and it's like just the feeling that you get from sitting down with someone who really needs that. You don't need it because you've got enough. This is where it comes to when I sat down with someone recently. I said, you know, how much do you want for your salary? And they went, oh, and I want this. And I went, but how much do you need? What do you need right now to survive?
Mhm.
What do you need right now? And they came up with a figure about what they need to survive. And I went, yeah, okay, I'm all right with that. That's
Yeah.
what you need. So I'll give you what you need and you perform and I'll give you what you want.
Yeah.
So
There's a difference
it's that
between
sort
the
of
need
thing.
and the want.
It's them having the trust in me to stick to my word, which I do, and me having the trust in them to do what they need to do in order to do it.
Mhm.
And that to me is everything. Having that relationship, you're going to get your fingers burnt now and again. Be honest, just one of these things.
It
But
just
again,
happens. Yeah.
it's something you learn to accept over time, and you just understand and you take the hard knocks. No, it is actually live. It's not
That,
pre-recorded.
so this is coming.
What is
That's
it about
coming.
YouTube? It
I
actually
was just going
asks
to
all
say
the
that's
time,
coming
is
through
this
YouTube
live or is
again.
it pre-recorded?
I think it's because YouTube's picked up. Is it Khaleesi? Yeah, we are live, Khaleesi. If you're
Aye.
on, jump in the comments
Yeah,
and tell us
and
where
I'm
you're
live for the
watching
first
from.
time on my Instagram account, Lettons Guru. So I'm
Oh,
actually
there you
live on my
are.
Instagram account for Lettons Guru. You're obviously on Fife Properties
Yeah.
Instagram account, but I'm live on my Lettons Guru account on Instagram. I just thought I'd go live on Instagram on my Lettons Guru platform and see if anybody's going to join me. Hey, if they didn't join me, I don't care. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying talking about this. I'm
Mhm.
enjoying learning from this, and I'm sure you learn out of this as well, Richard.
Oh, yeah,
And
definitely.
you know, everybody else is getting the great insight into having an opportunity to just tune in on this. That's it, really. A whole
Khaleesi,
5 people.
in Australia. So Khaleesi said, I'm from Australia, wanted to expand my property portfolio, but no idea where to start. Well, if you're interested in the Fife area in Scotland, Khaleesi, then my contact details are attached to this.
Actually,
this
Khaleesi, this is a good one. Your details are attached to that blog, okay? But Khaleesi, if you go back to the Wealth Creation Show, this is what we're running just now, and there's a whole playlist here. We're on episode 120, 140 or something.
143 we're on.
We're on episode 143. If you go back to episode 1, the first 50 episodes are designed to take someone from zero to millionaire status, and the aptitude and the mindset you have to have in order to do that, and also what you need to do in terms of when you choose investment strategies for property, for example, and how to build a portfolio. The first 50 episodes are designed to do that, and it was purely based on the fact that I couldn't be bothered writing the book.
Yeah.
So I thought I'll just do 50 episodes. And then they will keep it going. And now it's Richard's looking after it now. And then every week we talk about something based on our own personal experiences about trust and performances this week. Last week was core beliefs. The week before that was something else. And if anybody wants to talk about anything else, we'll talk about it. I love learning. And as I said, the book I'm reading now is Surrounded by Idiots. It's about personalities, and it's about personality profiles, and what type of people these people are, and why they act like they act. The one thing I'm going through now is body language. So I've read a bit about the body language of a red, which is a dominant person, but a bit of an introvert as well at the same time. But they're a leader. They're a natural leader. And their aptitude and their traits and all the rest of it. The next one I'm going to talk about is the next one I'm going to learn about is the yellow and their body language, which will be quite interesting as well, definitely. So I'm looking forward to that. And the next book I've got is actually to do with wealth and wealth creation. And it was recommended on Diary of a CEO by Stephen Bartlett by someone, and I thought, I want to read that next, definitely. So it's all these different things you can learn now. When I go out to Neckar, will I bump into Jamie Siminoff? Will I bump into Richard Branson again? Well, I know I'll bump into David and Lee from Lomparni, the Italian fashion house, because they're going, and they've already said they're going anyway. And will I bump into some other people? And will I bump into new people? Because Richard invites people out for the Thanksgiving week to spend time with him. And last year was Raoul, who was a hotelier, hotelier entrepreneur. And there was other people as well from all other areas. So it's like you get an insight into all these people's, into how these people think, into who these people are, and for me that teaches me a lot, and I learn a lot from that as well. So there's no surprise why I'm still driven, and a lot of people actually say it's like, how the hell are you still driven at 57-year-old, 50 coming up for 58? It's like, I can't believe it. I even have young people saying that. It's like, how are you so wired and fired still? It's like, because I've got purpose. I've got a sense of being, and I know myself, and I just want to continually learn all the time. That's really ultimately what you want. That's the type of person you want to be. And the excitement is really about, you don't know what's coming next. And it could be anything.
Just not off topic a wee bit, obviously, and continue where what you're talking about there. I think, like you're saying, you've continually got purpose, and you're excited about what you're doing, and you could see ahead that there's a lot more to your journey. I mean, ultimately, I think, diet and all the rest of it aside, that must keep you living longer when you've got that kind of mindset. Because there's a lot of people who wind down and let's retire. Do you know? I mean, in the 9-to-5 world, people will be getting closer to retirement, thinking when they're like obviously your age, but you're nowhere near thinking like that. Do you think when people just wind down and kind of give up on, and it's maybe just
I think some people just retire. See, when their partner goes as well, if they've got a partner, a life partner, it's like when they go, it's like they kind of lose the will to live, because they've relied so much on that person, and they've not got other people round about them. They've not had a social circle before, and therefore, as a result, they actually don't have a sense of purpose. The thing that will keep you, alive the longest is actually a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
As well as don't drink, don't smoke,
of
eat
course,
the right stuff, just make sure you exercise and breathe. Amazingly, a lot of people do shallow breaths. Here's a really good one. I know we're on trust and performance, but let's talk about this.
Yeah.
A lot of people do shallow breaths, and what you're doing though when you're doing shallow breaths is you're actually just inhaling the carbon dioxide back in again.
So you're not oxygenating.
And then, then you wonder why your brain gets so zoned out and so stressful. It's because you're not actually bringing oxygen in your blood system. You're just putting the carbon dioxide and it's sticking here, and then you're just breathing it back in again, breathing it back up, breathing it back in again, breathing it back up.
Deep breaths now.
Of course, because if you take a big deep breath, you then start to see it lifts on your head, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's just the oxygenation. I mean, we have a natural mechanical system in our body which actually looks after us already and tells us when we should eat and what we should eat and how we should eat. You don't need to discipline yourself to do things at different times of day. Your body will tell you what you need to do and when you need to do it. But we seem to be driven by media and by marketing, clever marketing, to do certain things when your body actually doesn't need to do them.
Eat a load of rubbish. That's one of the most things that, and that's what marketing makes us do. But it's true what you say. I mean, people that go hikes, or even if you just go on a walk in your local park or whatever, you feel so much better because you've got all that fresh air and exercise and things as well. So definitely
trust in performance, accountability, and all the rest of it. Again, this is relying on the people that you're listening to and books that you're reading. They're actually trustworthy of your time and your attention. That's key as well. This is why there's only certain people I'll listen to on podcasts. This is why there's only certain books I will read. This is why there's only certain people I'll take their advice. Because I've researched these people way beforehand, and I've found out who they are, what they stand for, and where they are in their journey, and what experience and expertise they have in that field. And if I think that's something that's valuable to me, then I will trust them as a result of that, which will improve my performance more than likely.
Yeah. So let's look at the link between trust and high performance then. Now, obviously, putting this stuff together, looking at there's a lot of research, and it just shows time and time again that trust levels between individuals and as the key kind of defining characteristic and some of the most best workplaces in the world, and that's the foundation of their high performance. And I'm going to bring it back to Virgin, which is Richard Branson, but they have amazing customer service. They've done a survey on that. I mean, I don't have the stats, but on their the happiness of, or the contentment of their employees within their job, the freedom he gives them and their roles, and just the whole. It's just a brilliant high morale.
He doesn't give them any freedom at all. He really isn't involved in the business anymore.
But I mean,
he just oversees the fund, and he turns up for the special occasions where he's got to be on camera and stuff like that. But in his own right, he's got his own profile, and he's got his own marketing team behind him. And yes, he is obviously linked with the Virgin brand because he was the original founder. But he'd never run it for years, really. He lets the team, and he trusts them to do it. And he knows they've got the right performance. And then he's a good person at attracting the right talent to what he's doing. So he'll be the one that attracts them because he meets them maybe on a, when they're on stage at an event or something like that. He'll meet them and take a wee mental note and maybe have a wee chat with them. And at some point in time in the future, he's like, okay, we're going to get into banking again. Let me speak to so-and-so.
Right.
Because I think that person will be brilliant for it. Okay, we're going to get into this. Let me speak to so-and-so because I know that person will be good for it. That's what he's good at. And I would say that's what I'm learning to be good at, I would say. Takes a lot of time. But hey, I've got time. I've got another 40, maybe 50 years.
But then that's the thing as well, though, that you've obviously now got that time to be a more leadership role and focus on your teams, where you've got teams built with a lot of trust and within them, which ultimately then is going to be a lot more high performing. And if you, as you look to the future and expansion or different things, that's what you're going to need to do things like that.
Yeah, you have to. One man is not an island. You have to, and if that's the way you operate, then you'll never grow outside of your own what you can cope with yourself. So in order to grow a business or grow your team, you have to trust other people to perform and do what they can do within the limit. And you just have to accept sometimes that they'll not do what you want them to do. It'll maybe take 4 or 5 times to tell them to do it or to get it right. But they'll maybe do quite a lot of the other things right anyway. So the things that you're trying to tell them to do is like maybe 5%, and they're doing 95% right. So that's what you've got to acknowledge. It's not the fact that they're not doing what you told them to do. They're probably doing everything anyway, but it's just because they're not doing that one thing. And this is why you have to not get bent out of shape when that comes in. You'll be putting mental notes down of this, Richard. So when we're in meetings together, you'll be going, mind when you said that on the podcast.
I do when we talk. Sometimes I do go back and watch sometimes what we talk about, because as you say, I learn quite a lot on this as well. It's good. But yeah.
So it is. Trust will lead to probably higher performance, and people that will be willing to do things that they would otherwise not do if you were on their back all the time in a 9 to 5 job. So like work outside the hours, like work at weekends, like work at nights, like just work if they're going on holidays. Like Susan's done that. Susan's away to Ireland for the week, and she's like, don't worry though, I'll take my phone and I've got my email on my phone just in case. And if you need me, then just phone me. And I'm like, I'll not need you.
No, I was coming back from Ireland and yesterday, and she was going, and I was coming back. I never seen it. Like, she got the ferry and I flew. But anyway, but
that's a natural cycle of people working together in a collaborative state, built out of trust.
Yeah, and people watching may think, right, okay, because we're doing a lot of references to business and things here in the business that we run. And people might think, right, okay, how does this relate to maybe my wealth creation journey? But even if we'll take, again, property investment as the investment vehicle. But think about what we spoke about a few weeks ago about having the right people around you, whether that's somebody, your financial advisor, your mortgage advisor, somebody that's good with tax, whether it's a good solicitor. That's part of your team. You need to have these people, and you need to entrust them to do things properly for you in order to have a high performing portfolio.
So there's a classic example. I've got a conveyancer and a solicitor that actually do all that for me. So I was asked to go to another solicitor because the mortgage company that's going to be doing the funding for my portfolio purchase, it does not have the solicitor I currently use on it. Right. So I just go to my current solicitor anyway, and I go, do you know somebody that could be able to do this? Because I trust you to pick that person for me. And Audrey said, yeah, no bother. I'll just send it to so-and-so at this organisation, because I know they'll be able to do it for him. So she had a word with her. And then I got something back from the mainstream response from that solicitor saying, oh, well, it's not going to be to mid-November. We're going to get round to that. And Audrey went, don't worry, I'll have a word with Julie about it, and I'll get that sorted so it speeds it up. See? So I trust Audrey. Definitely. I trust Audrey definitely. Because Audrey, I know, is the person that'll get the job done. Even though she is not the person having to do the job, she will make sure and oversee another solicitor to make sure they've done the job for me, because she can't do it because they're not on the panel of the mortgage company that I'm getting the lending from. So that's me building a really good team, and someone take charge of that I would normally take charge of that now. So therefore, my time is actually released to do something else, like sit on a beach.
Yeah.
Like
but then that's
it was always my vision to sit on a beach and drink pina coladas.
That's what you've worked towards. So.
And then because my mentors actually used to tell me that. They used to rub it in all the time with me. It's like, Jim, do you know I went away on holiday, and when I came back, my business is growing? And I'm like, how on earth does that happen? How is that possible? Because I just had the mindset of everything relies on me being there all the time. So it never resonated with me. And they used to tell me that every single time. Oh, I went away and I came back and my business had grown and I made an extra X amount of thousands. And I went, how do you do that if you're away somewhere and you're not doing it? Yeah. And it's the team. It's how to build a power team, a team that you can trust to perform, to get on with what they're needing to do. So there is a high link between trust and performance, definitely. And you're talking about that about time and time again. The research has shown that trust levels between individuals with key defining characteristics
Yeah.
are the world's best workplaces and the foundation of high performance as well. Yeah, I've got to say, I mean, I talk about Branson and Virgin a lot, but Virgin is the poster boy. You know, more or less, if you're going to take an example of a high performing company, it is given a high service out of all these years, it's got to be Virgin.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's the Virgin way. It's the way things are done. It's the culture, it's the mentality. And that takes a lot of time to get to that level. And I personally don't know if there's another company that really stands out that much as what Virgin does
No,
worldwide.
when I was doing research to put together this topic for us to talk today, and I looked at, and I mean, I knew about Virgin anyway and its reputation, but when you look at it, there's, I mean, you just Google it and you'll be able to see how much of the amazing feedback they have as a company, and like I say, their productiveness, their customer service. I mean, everything. It's impeccable.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, but like you say, it's about building that team and building that trustworthy team, and there's a lot goes into that, and it does obviously take time to establish a team that has quite a high level of trust. And possibly over time, you know, you'll come up against trust issues and things. They can be resolved. You just need to obviously know the right ways to work through that. And the benefits of a team having good morale and then their performance really is kind of undeniable that it's going to be good if there's high morale and people are trustworthy among them. Now I've put down some tips and things here about what builds a trustworthy team. But I mean, you've already kind of touched on it, Jim, and it's really empowering the individuals. You know, having them through like their meaningful kind of participation and trusting them to be able to do things without being completely micromanaged.
Some people want micromanaged. Some people, believe it or not, some people like to be micromanaged. It just depends what personality type they are. So you have to understand that person and who they are and how much responsibility you can actually pass on to them and how much delegation you could pass to them as well, and the trust that you could actually, you know, they will do the right thing and perform as a result of that. But some people just need micromanaged to a degree. It's just the way they are. They're used to having someone overseeing them. They're used to having someone tell them what to do, and that's okay. That's fine. How to do that, but it will take time to establish that high level of trust, I would say. But geez, you've said it here, even longer to fix any trust issues.
Yeah.
So it's the old thing about, you know, you can build a really good reputation, but you can wipe yourself out overnight because you've done something wrong. But it can, you know, you've said it here, it can be fixed if you've got the right team round about you.
Yeah.
So we've had it over the years. You know, we've had people that kind of think, oh well, the trust is waning a bit, maybe customers and that. But then when you go and sit down with them, they realise you're genuine about what you are. You're not just making it up. It's like you're genuine, and then they'll stick with you. They'll stick with you. See, I will stick with someone that's genuine and upfront with me and will tell me the truth. And I'll be quite loyal because I tend to be quite a loyal person, to the point that I'm loyal to the point that I end up losing out as a result of being loyal. But that's fine, because then when that point comes, it's like, never the twain shall meet ever again. That's what I talked about the trust. I've given you as much as possible. I've even gone way beyond what everybody else would be to be trustworthy of this person. And you've shown me definitely that you're completely untrustworthy. I will never venture down that avenue again.
No, because I think when it comes to that, it's definitely like mutual trust and respect and things. It's built through, it's a two-way street, basically. You know, people who feel trusted will then obviously entrust more in you, and it works both ways. And that's why it's important.
Behavior breeds behavior.
Yes.
So if you're like that with someone, well, let's say, because there is people out there, if you're like that with someone, they'll just take a loan of you. You just have to make sure you've got the right person in the first place. That's what an interview is all about, especially when you're hiring for someone. That's why having the right traits and that's why having the trial period as well, to make sure they're actually the person that you really thought. I mean, I've had people pull the wool over my eyes, you know,
Mhm.
align with me. Oh, I'm vegan, and oh, I do exercise as well, and oh, I do this as well. I'm like, flipping out, this is like a younger version of me. All right, I'll bring you on board. And the next minute, it's like they're nothing like that at all.
It was just to get you, yeah.
Yeah, so they knew how to play the game, and it's like you knew how to play the game of deception. It's like that is not trustworthy and a trait at
That's a
all that
big
we want to
big
have in
red
our
flag.
company. You're out. That's
Yeah.
it. You ain't coming back. You can't even repair that because that is the type of person you are. So
Yeah,
that's when that's when you find people like that out. You can't be hurt by it, but because you've got to go through that process in order to find it. You know, you've
mhm,
got to go through dare I say, you've got to go through the crap to get to to get to the cream.
yeah. And you have to give away your kind of authority and trust in people to be able to establish whether that is the way of it or not. And if people have been quite deceptive like that in order to make you think a certain way about them, that's a big red flag for me and
Mhm.
obviously for you as well. So
So
yeah,
so you had said there, empowering individuals through meaningful
yep,
participation. It's mutual trust, respect built over time. Follow through on commitments with actions. In other words, I'm a great believer in this. Don't show me, do it.
yeah,
Yeah. Don't say it, don't talk about it, just go out and do it. Show me. My mentors used to say that to me all the time. Jim, you could talk to that till the cows come home. Go and just show me. Don't
mhm,
tell me. You could tell me all the time, but just show me.
yeah,
Ian and I talked about this this morning, how a lot of people actually tell everybody what they're about to do, and they get the huge rush and the dopamine hit out of that, and then they never ever do it
yeah. I mean,
because because they
even you
get
and I do that in our one-to-ones, and I'm like, right, this and this, and you're like, right, that's good, but you need to do it. Show me, go and do it. And it's like,
aye,
so
show me. Didn't
yeah,
stop telling me about it. Just bloody do it.
yeah,
Then I'll know, oh, look, you've done that. Well done. It's
yeah.
like, didn't oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this. And it's like, but they go into social media and they tell everybody they're gonna do it as well. I'm gonna sort myself out. And everybody go, oh, that's wonderful, love, and that's fantastic. And
But
the
they
people
didn't actually
love
follow
and
through on
shares
it.
and likes and all the comments and they get all the thing and then they don't follow through it, but they've already had the dopamine rush out of it already
Mhm,
about what they've got. So they don't feel the need to follow through with it because that's what they were chasing in the first place. But
yeah,
I mean, we're starting off in other ventures as well, and you'll probably know about that, and I'll talk about it more tomorrow.
yeah,
But it's the whole thing about it's the rush you get out of it. And Ian was saying to me, "You're not excited about it." It's like, nope, I'm not excited about it. I am a tortoise.
yeah.
I am a slow burner. I am a let's do it instead of talking about it.
Mhm.
Let's just do it. Screw it. Let's do it.
And see how it pans out. Yeah,
Yeah. What's the good harm? It doesn't work. What's the best it could happen? It
it
works. Oh my
works.
God. It's like great. It works. Fantastic. But if it doesn't work, I've not lost much. It's
Mhm.
like, but I would lie on my deathbed and I think, oh, I wish I had done it. So that's why I'm doing it. And that to me is again getting people and telling them your vision, telling them your journey, and getting them on board to trust you and to come with you. And when you do that and you do what you say and you follow through it, it's what the other one you said here about building trust in a team. It's the 4 tips about encouraging authentic and transparent communication between everybody.
Yes.
In other words, for God's sake, just spit it out and tell me.
Yeah,
If you think it's shite, then tell me.
yeah.
It's,
I did.
if
A
you
lot of
think it's
people,
a
a lot of people
rubbish
spend a
idea,
lot
then
of
tell me
time.
it's a rubbish idea. It's like, don't sit there and agree with me and then walk out the room and say to someone else that's sitting in that room, and when you walked out the room, I didn't think that's a good idea. Flipping heck. Let's have it out in the room. Let's tell
Mhm.
me. That's what I remember Branson and Rebel Billionaire when he did that, when he took all these people, put the woman from Spanx, and he took another guy from Happy Sack, Rory, I think it was, and he took other people as well from other business backgrounds, and he put them in Rebel Billionaire. But this was what it was all about. It was about finding out the true people and what they were like,
Mhm.
and their core beliefs and their
Yeah.
trust, and then saying it was literally like the Willy Wonka, because when he got to the end, he offered somebody the chance to run the whole Virgin Group and take his
Mhm.
place, and the boy declined. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
um, yeah, because he had his own business anyway, and he says, I respectfully decline, Richard, because it's like I've got my own business anyway. I was like, well, that's brilliant because you left it for me. It's like- That's what I was thinking at that time. That was years ago. Remember, that's about 20 or 30 years ago. I wouldn't do that now, you see. I did that tongue in cheek for 1st April. It's like I was going to put on. It's like I've been offered a position with the Virgin Group, and folk went, "I would have believed you." Oh dear. So it's about authentic and encouraging and transparent communication, and now this is actually quite important. Now I need to work on this quite a lot. The next one, the final one, the fourth one, it's praise publicly and it's correct privately.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. There's times that I know I've walked out there and I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that right in front of everybody else. I should have just taken that person aside and banged their head on the table. Let's say, it's, that sort of thing. I should have just done that in private. I shouldn't have done that in public. So, and it's the need for speed for me that I usually just come out with and blurt it out. That's the issue I have to contend with, and that's the thing I have to take a step back and slow down with. So there's a red for you. It just wants results every single time. It's totally focused, completely introvert, sometimes detached from what's other people's feelings, and they just want a result. They're focused on the result. They're not focused on the emotion or the feeling from that. So they're quite happy just to blurt out right in front of everybody else. It's like, you should have done it like this. And knowing fine when you walk away from that, I think, I maybe shouldn't have done it like that. I should have taken this person aside and I should have said to them quietly, but in publicly, praise everybody as possible.
Yeah, because I think if you're going to bring something up and like that, then you might kind of demoralise them a wee bit, and
nobody wants to be slagged off in front of your peers. Nobody wants that, and I wouldn't want that either. So I get it. I understand it. I just have to, personally for me, I have to rein it in now and again. That's all. I just have to rein it in. I have to establish. I have to understand that's not how other people respond, and that, and just learn from it, I suppose. But that's probably why I'm not the size of Virgin. Because I've not done that. Whereas he has, more than likely.
And the praising and and giving praise publicly on the flip side of that is completely opposite. Because if you're praising somebody for doing a good job or doing something or following through on something the way that it was meant to be done, then everybody else sees that and they want that. So then it maybe then will give them the insightfulness to think, right, I'm going to pull it out of the bag here because I want to be that person getting praised. And then ultimately then it lifts everybody lifts it up.
Praise, reward, everything. There's no doubt about it. All these big, massive companies exist today because they've adopted this early in their processes. Now, you can go on about people like Watt of Brewdog. I think it's James Watt of Brewdog, and people like that saying how he's a task driver, a slave driver at his workforce and everything like that. But Brewdog is a huge organization today as a result of the team they had round about them. And, they paid a price and they burnt themselves out, but it was their choice. It was, they could have easily left, but they chose to stay because they were loyal towards him as a result of that. But it's only later on when it suited them, then it comes out in the ether. It's like, oh, well, it wasn't as good as what we thought. It's like, but you wanted to do that. You got a buzz out of it. It lifted you as a result of it. And that's what people crave. They crave that buzz. They crave being part of that team. That's what they're craving overall as a result of that. They crave being part of that team, I would say. And that's how people, that's how you build a team, and that's how people follow you as a result. And that's how people follow you on social media, like, know, and trust. They begin to realize who you are as a person, and they align with you, or they like your beliefs and core values. So that's why I tend to do a lot of this, because this is just me. And you can't make it up. You can't get to 140 episodes and then, be that person that you're not meant to be. No. It's like what they say about Big Brother. When they first brought you Big Brother, everybody goes, well, they could be disingenuous and they could just make that up and put over a persona. It's like after about 3 or 4 days, they became their natural self, and people were like that. It ended up you start to see the true person.
People that were playing a game and not being themselves, you picked up on it very quickly.
Yeah. So this is me. I'm a very open book, and it's always been like that. I've always known that. I've always known that because I did a psychometric test at my work years and years ago, and the first thing she says to me, "You're an open book, eh? You just tell anybody everything about yourself." And I went, "Yeah, I would. Doesn't make any difference to me.
Yeah.
It might help someone else, but doesn't make any difference to me. I'm quite happy to discuss anything. It's no skin off my nose."
Yeah, and be quite open. Yeah.
Yeah. So being open. So how do you then? That then begs the question. Then how do you measure performance versus trust? You know, the fact that you trust somebody and you give them that trust, and then their objectives and their performance,
Yeah.
and
So,
how do you know
well,
that
it's
that
obviously,
how do you know you're winning with it?
yeah, it's obviously quite challenging to measure someone's trustworthiness, but we've explored that. But performance is a bit different, and objectively, there is several different factors that can be considered when you're trying to really assess someone's trustworthiness. But I think, I mean, I've listed them here, so and these are going to be the main points: is reliability on somebody. So reliability kind of refers to the consistency and the dependability of somebody's actions or an individual's actions, or what they say in their words over a certain period of time. Do you know that you could then establish this is a reliable person, I could rely on them. They've got that element of reliability in them. Such a big part of performance and trustworthiness. Integrity as well is a good one. And that's, like you spoke a lot there about having people around you that align with you. And that relates a lot to alignment between individuals and how their actions and their moral kind of ethics and principles marry up.
And that's what I was going to say. There's people that align with me, okay, on the morals and ethics and core beliefs, but it doesn't necessarily say that they're the same personality type.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what makes people work together collaboratively for a common purpose, because they believe in the same thing, but they're of different
Backgrounds.
personalities. Yeah,
Yeah.
personalities.
You don't have
introvert,
you
extrovert.
have to be clones of each other.
Yeah,
to
introvert,
get along.
extrovert, action orientated, emotionally orientated. These different things, but the core beliefs and then the deep down values are more or less similar. Even though they don't seem similar people, they still and that's why you attract that type of person towards you.
Yeah, and also, I mean, ultimately, the people's competency and their competence and, you know, their expertise in the field that they're actually working in. We'll obviously keep referring to property because it's what we do, but, you know, people's competence and their confidence in what they're doing and being able to execute their job and their role as they should be, and you know, contribute kind of like substantially to the whole performance of that role.
Yeah, for the rest of the team and stuff like that as well. Yeah. You know, the fact that everybody else trusts them to do their job, and you know, when that trust ends up getting lost, then that's the time for that person to leave. Interestingly enough, when you talked about alignment, individuals' actions, moral ethics, and principles, and all the rest of it, I that's why I believe that some people actually don't choose us to sell their house or let their house. They don't even go to us. They don't even. They do align with us if they choose us and they get us out. But I believe that they don't actually come to us in the first place because they don't align with my core beliefs. And if I know what my core beliefs are like, what does it say about them?
You know what? It's true what you say, though, because
but it's true because I know quite a lot of these people that actually don't, and I think to say, yeah, that makes sense.
I would totally agree, because I know that there's a lot of people I work with, and I'm going, after we've done the show today, I'm going to meet a couple that they're building their portfolio, and they totally align with what we're doing today on here. They watch the shows, do you know, and it's just, I mean, I didn't have to do any like sale to them or anything. They just come to me and be like, and we just work together because they already watch and listen to what we do, and they align with it. So and it just works.
Because if you believe that you should take quite a substantial part of your profits and put them back into your community, then you should be using us all the time.
Yeah.
So clearly, if you're not using us, then that tells me straight away that you don't believe that that's a core value of your own principles. If you don't believe, you know, so all these different things that we believe in as people, and we communicate a lot anyway, so they do know that. and they do know it because we put this up all the time.
Yeah.
So that tells me a lot about that person. And that tends to be the person that I used to show the plan to years ago in network marketing. And they used to go, I'll rub it in their face if I become a millionaire. I'll show everybody. I'll run about in my Ferrari and show off to them. I'll just rub it in their noses in it. And I thought, yeah, you don't align with me at all, do you?
That's the wrong attitude. Yeah,
I will not be working with you. So that's that, you know, that's the sort of things that and they don't last long either. And it's the same when they come into our estate agency business years ago. I used to give everybody a chance. I used to, oh, come on, like everybody can change. The eternal optimist. Anybody can change. It's like, you know, knowing what that type of person was. And I thought, no, you could change. And I know you want to change. And I would give them a chance to change, and they wouldn't change. A fox is a fox. Don't kid yourself. It's a fox. And it always will be.
When I first come to work with you and things, there was a lot of self-employed agents that worked within the business and things as well, and their outlook on things was very different to what yours was, and yeah, there was a lot that come and gone.
I remember Grant years ago. Sadly, he's no longer with us. Grant years ago, and when he was finally given up as a self-employed estate agent, saying to me, and I still didn't ken what this all about you help me to help yourself and be successful. If you help me out, you'll be successful as well. I just don't get that. And it's like,
yeah,
you don't get the fact that if I help you become successful, I will become successful as well. So my whole being is about helping you become successful. Because if you're not successful, guess what? I'm not successful. And it's the same with your employees. It's the same with people you employ. If they're not successful in their job, then you're not successful either. So it's the same mentality. So you're as a leader, your objective is to help the people you employ to become successful and give them the necessary tools to do their job and give them the leeway and the trust to do their job effectively.
It's kind of like we're all on the same ship here. Everybody has their role. And if everybody does it very well, we'll be successful in doing and getting to where
some people want to sail their own ships, though.
Yeah.
Eventually, some people want to leave in the lifeboat.
Yeah.
That's effectively that.
There's a few good analogies, but yeah.
So they don't understand that, and that's why you'll get the right people to gravitate towards you. So you know, the other one, you talked about confidence, you talked about consistency, and stability of an individual's behaviour, decision making, and stuff like that, and not being sporadic about what they do and changing their mind every 2 seconds and all the rest of it, because that just creates an environment of distrust.
Yeah, doubt. It creates doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, and as well, and this is the one we still have to work on, and we know that, and I know that, is the openness of communication. It's like, you know, I'm quite open with everybody what the communication is, but we still tend to get people that don't want to give their opinion. But understand that it's the greens. It's the greens. It's the green personality profile. It's like, oh my God, if I say something wrong. And then it's the yellows. It's like, oh, I'm going to say something when I get out of the room. And it's the blue. It's so it's that type of thing. They would rather tell someone else when they get outside the room it was the wrong direction, and then say, I told you so, after it's all the wrong direction. I was like, but as soon as you walk out that room and you say, oh, it's the wrong direction, we're doomed.
Yeah.
Before we even start. We're doomed. Like, get out now what you believe is the way forward. And it's all about winning people to your way of thinking. That's what it is.
And it doesn't matter whether your opinion is, whether what you think maybe it isn't the right one. But unless you express it and then discover that maybe what is the right answer, then you're never going to know. And like you say, you've as well been upfront and saying what your opinion is.
Yeah, definitely. I would say so. But some people just don't want to do that because they don't want to rock the boat because that's their personality style. They'd rather keep it to themselves. And then when it is successful, they say, I told you so. It's like, no, you never. Oh, dear.
Yeah, definitely. Openness and communication. Yeah.
But that's human nature. You know, you see loads and loads of films and loads of personalities based on that, don't you? Every single time. This is the guy Braveheart. That's because somebody, you know, the person before talked about and on the shores and everything like that.
I thought maybe they were writing that because of the accent. I don't know.
No, but maybe it's. See, I don't think I've got a Scottish accent.
We do. Yeah, I know. I don't think it either, but we do.
This is just normal talking. But obviously, people further afield obviously hear that and immediately think of Braveheart. Clearly, or Sean Connery is the other one, or Billy Connolly, Sean Connery or Billy Connolly. That's the great Scots.
Yeah, but regardless, thanks for jumping in the comments, and thank you also, Angela. I've seen your comments coming through. Thanks for joining in today. So yeah, let's summarize. Let's summarize on trust and performance, and that the dynamic between trust and performance. It really is that critical aspect, and various domains, including your interpersonal relationships, teamwork, and your organizational effectiveness, really within a workplace, or whether it's in your own wealth creation journey. And trust serves as that foundation for effective collaboration with people, communication and cooperation among individuals and teams, which lead to that improved performance outcomes. So when individuals trust one another, they are more likely to share that information, take the risks, and rely on each other's abilities, which enhances then the overall synergy and kind of productiveness, or the productivity of any business or any team or anybody that's trying to be successful, whatever they do.
My advice is take a leap of faith. What you got to lose by reaching out and telling people what you actually, what could help to move forward. Not a criticism in what's getting currently done right now, but something that you can help to tune and develop and make something a lot easier for everybody. And a leap of faith in order for that trust. Because at the end of the day, if people don't trust you in the job that you're working in, just go and get another job.
Yeah. I think if you're in that
a lot of people don't resonate with that. They're like, oh, I'll never be able to get a job. I'll not be employable. Nobody's going to want me. I know what I tried the last time and I couldn't get a job and it took me years to get this one. And it's like, I like where I am and, these sort of things. But it's like, do you really want to stick in it? I mean, 91% of people are in a job they hate. And they just do it. According to statistics, 91%. It's like, oh my God! It's like I've got the luxury of being part of the 9% that love what I do. That's quite concerning, especially
it's quite a high figure.
Yeah, especially we talk about trust and performance, but then that's the way it is. Oh, they have to work. Oh, I've got to go to work. I've got to do this. I've got to get up at this, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do this when I get home. Take a leap of faith and just get out there and actually wear your heart on your sleeve. And some people will trust you, and some people will resonate towards you, and some people won't.
Yeah,
but
you're never going to be able to please or match up with everybody.
Don't be a people pleaser. Just look after yourself, get yourself right, get your relationship with you right, and people will naturally gravitate towards you, naturally trust you. The right people will, and actually will perform better for you as well for that reason.
Definitely. Yeah, I think we'll leave it on that note. That was really good. I hope everyone enjoyed what we covered today. If you have any questions and you're watching on the rerun or whatever, put them in the comments. We will come back to you. Thanks for everybody that joined in and people watching overseas as well. It's quite good to hear from people. So, and Jim and I will be back again next Monday, 12:30 as usual for the Wealth Creation Show.
Perfect. Bye-bye for now.
I'll end it there. Thanks, Jim.